She may be one of the biggest girl that I've encountered of all time. Just like the never-ending assembly line of stars gone by, the crafters of Blake Lively lore have successfully sold us this archetype of the ultimate prom queen who never fell off after high school graduation. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, she did not get knocked up by the quarterback, and he did not end up having to get a job at AutoZone. Blake is also the girl that other girls aspire to. They want to look like her. They want to have her hair. They want to have her life. And she loves it. But lately, Blake Lively has been getting a different sort of attention. And that's because the press about Justin Baldoni, her accusations of inappropriate contact on the set of It Ends With Us, is not going her way. There's been a lot of information that's been coming out that's either a misrepresentation or a downright untruth about Baldoni. In this video, we are going to not talk about the merits or issues regarding the case. What we are going to be talking about, the merits and issues of Blake Lively's character. Because while I was vigorously consuming all of the information surrounding the Baldoni and Blake Lively case, I realized something about Blake Lively. She may be one of the biggest girl that I've encountered of all time. She engages in what is called relational aggression. I'm going to give you 3 examples of some things that Blake Lively has done that indicate that she engages in relational aggression on a regular basis. And here's the thing. When it comes to relational aggression, either you've done it or you've had it done to you. There's nobody who's been spared from this. You think that girls each other on the schoolyard. You can't play with this person, or I'm gonna whisper about this person, or you can't be friends with this person. When in reality, women practice this way beyond grammar school, high school, and even college. These people operate in the workplace, in your friend circles, in your social groups, and they are relentless. And like the Terminator, they will never stop until they ruin you.
I'll be back.
It's a different kind of not the with your fists or with harsh words. It is an indirect, passive type meant to exclude, manipulate, recruit others to turn against you, to ultimately destroy you. Okay, guys, let me set the scene. This is an interview that Blake Lively and Piper Posey conducted to promote the Woody Allen movie Cafe Society that was released in 2016. It starts with the interviewer just simply giving an innocent comment congratulating Blake Lively on her pregnancy announcement, which she happily did days or weeks before with Ryan Reynolds, her husband. She says it in a cute way, but Blake Lively is having none of it.
Oh, congrats on your little bump.
Congrats on your little bump.
Blake Lively immediately hits back on this. I personally believe that Blake Lively has some body image issues. With her case with Justin Baldoni, she mentions that Justin body shamed her because he asked their personal trainer how much she weighed. And she actually included that in her complaint for harassment, when in truth, Justin Baldoni asked their mutual trainer how much she weighed because he has a back injury and he wanted to know how to train for it. But Blake Lively seems to be really triggered about her weight. Another thing that we see right away is Piper Posey joining in a mutual joke that you will see will be to the complete exclusion of the host.
2 nice ones.
And they are kind of bumps, aren't they?
Are
Do
you
you like
like-
the movie? Are you a Woody Allen fan?
I love most of his movies, and this one was so visually amazing.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Did you guys love wearing those kind of clothes that you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And working in
Everyone
digital.
wants to talk about the clothes.
So Piper was kind of being nice here. She's acknowledging the question. She had her arm outstretched, trying to sort of bring her into the conversation through her body language. But she's still leaning into Blake Lively because she's clearly on the Lively team. Blake Lively still is positioned in her body language towards Piper and away from the host. She's not facing the host, and she continues to have a conversation as if Miss Flaw, the interviewer, is not there. And that is strategic and on purpose. The next thing that she's going to do is direct her answer to Piper instead of the reporter, which is also meant to make her feel invisible and excluded. Here, see for yourself.
But I wonder if they would ask the men about the clothes.
I would.
I love Jesse's
His so
suits and
beautiful. That's what I'm saying. His wardrobe was
Oh,
beautiful. I really
lady.
wish men
And
wore
sorry,
sweet pants
too.
like
I
that
know.
still.
Look at her face. We've all had this face, right? Where you're sitting there, you know something is happening, you know you're being excluded. Maybe you were at the lunch table, or maybe you were at the PTA meeting, or maybe you were in a brainstorming meeting at work and somebody excluded you, pretended that you weren't even there, that you were invisible, and you are stuck. It's like a fight or flight thing. You have this horrible feeling in your gut. You feel stupid, and you don't want anybody to know how small you feel in the moment, and all you can do is paint on a smile. So one thing that people who engage in relational aggression do is they need to get the numbers on their side. It requires group participation for their tactics to work, because the goal is to damage your relationships with other people. So in order to do that, they've got to get other people involved in hating you. That's exactly what Blake Lively did back in her Gossip Girl days, when she confessed in a Glamour magazine article that she tried to poison the well against Penn Badgley when he joined the cast, and she disagreed with the hiring of him. Instead of being introspective about why she just didn't like somebody on site, like what goes in your mind when you don't even know a person and you don't like them, she decided she was going to poison the entire cast against him by front loading a bunch of stuff about him being a jerk. And she's the dumbest ever because she actually admits it. She says it in her own words. Here's what Blake Lively says in her Glamour magazine article. At first, I was so upset that they hired him. I actually poisoned the cast against him. But then they noticed that he wasn't a jerk and was actually a nice and charming person. Almost immediately, I realized this too, but it took me about a week to admit it. So let's go back to when she says, but then they noticed. So what happened was her timing wasn't right. She tried to front load by poisoning the well, but she just hadn't got to it in time for them to encounter and experience Penn themselves. And so what happens when you're outnumbered and you're the girl? The last thing you want is to be exposed. But I guarantee you Blake Lively learned a very valuable lesson to make sure that she would never make that mistake again. This last example required me to have to go outside, touch some grass, and get some aromatherapy. Because it truly is the most egregious of all of the examples that I've given so far. Imagine if you had a project, a baby of yours, like literally you're nurturing this thing. You have this idea, you bring in the concepts, you build the infrastructure, you bring in the people to try to make your dream come true. And then one of those people decides that your dream should be their dream, and that all the work that you did, they should get the credit too. That is exactly what happened. Blake Lively started with changing the wardrobe, then changing the music, then changing the script, and redoing the whole thing, and sort of Justin Baldoni into all of this, who simply was a little bit too nice and a little bit too desirous of wanting to keep the peace. But who could blame him when you had the threat of dragons coming upon you and raining down hellfire and brimstone if you don't comply? Apparently, that wasn't good enough for Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds and whoever else was involved, because they said, no, we need to have it all. Your project your baby that you put in the time and the effort, you got the cast together, and we just say, we want it now. And we're going to try to do whatever we can to make sure that we get it. And if we have to lie, cheat, steal, extort, that's exactly what we're going to do. Because even though Blake Lively had no idea that It Ends With Us had the potential to be a blockbuster when she took on the role, once she got into it, she realized this was a cash cow and had potential for sequels. So what did Ryan Reynolds do? He said, bet. If this guy is not going to play ball, if we cannot love bomb him or coerce him to have it our way, then we will just destroy him. And so what culminated with all of that was seeing his project, his baby, being distributed to the globe on the silver screen, and him having to be relegated to the basement. And why? Because Blake Lively was successful this time. This time, Blake Lively worked real hard to make sure that everybody was on her side when she decided that she was going to weaponize the Me Too movement to get what she wanted. It was convenient career-wise for a lot of these stars to be on Lively and Reynolds' side because they were courting them and love bombing them with all sorts of little dangling carrots of opportunities to get roles, to feature film, to get agents, what have you. And here's the thing, guys. It's more than just the humiliation of it all, being relegated to the bottom basement next to a whole crate of waters. It's about the concept of being wrongfully accused and never really being able to recover from that. I want you guys to engage in an exercise with me for a second. Can you think of a single person who has ever been wrongfully accused of something who has been able to just bounce back and be better than ever before? Usually the person who is wrongfully accused, they'll get exonerated, charges will be dropped, lawsuits will be settled or dismissed, etc. But have you ever seen that person thrive afterwards? This is why it's so sad, because just when Justin Baldoni was starting to get some traction in his career, he made himself, by simply defending himself, a person that no one really will want to deal with. I believe largely Hollywood had decided before all of the negative press and all of the people and mommy sleuths that had gotten involved in this had been completely prepared to side with Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds with whatever narrative that they put together. It is my belief that Justin Baldoni is innocent. I believe that these people picked on him because they didn't think that he had the clout, the money, or the power to be able to fight back.
They just never thought that anybody was going to come out with the receipts.
Because no one's ever done it, because everyone usually just bows down.
Because everyone's scared.
Yeah.
Because Ryan Reynolds A-list, Blake Lively A-list, like, don't, they're the queen.
But the problem is other people, the other people that Blake Lively recruited in this whole debacle will be feeling some kind of way. They'll be feeling some kind of way about themselves. Nobody wants to believe that they are able to be so gullible and to see the person in which you decided was the bad guy, and you have to look at them and say, I was wrong, is very, very uncomfortable. They don't want to deal with the fact that they got it wrong. And so that person gets punished anyway. What's even worse is people start judging you on the way in which you chose to defend yourself. I've been seeing headlines about how Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni have completely exploded their careers, when the fact of the matter is Justin Baldoni was just using his face, his political positions, his personality, his good ass looks to make a change in the world for the better, to honor women. And everybody else got it wrong.
And he's suing the New York Times, and he's got a great case.
He's going hard in the paint. But
He
that's
should.
what it takes.
That's what it takes.
but nobody likes to actually be wrong. And nobody wants to look at the person who they were wrong about every single day. So despite being exonerated from all of this, chances are Justin Baldoni will never be able to bounce back from this horrible situation. So I say all this to say that relational aggression goes beyond just the person that you're. It can devastate lives. Just think about Justin Baldoni and his family, his wife. This whole situation, if Justin Baldoni's wife would have believed what Blake Lively and other people were saying, that could have ruined a marriage. It could have ruined his family and his children. And these people didn't care. So I had to ask, at what point are we going to say that this kind of stuff needs to stop? And the only way it's going to stop is not through rules and regulations and things like that. It's going to require for each one of us to be introspective, because at some point, I betcha, girl, I'm looking at you, either you've done it or you've had it done to you. It's universal. It's global. When are we going to say, as enlightened humans, that this is not the way that we solve problems? This is not the way we get what we want? Because here's the thing, karma is real. And there's always going to be somebody more beautiful, more powerful, richer, taller, stronger than you. And the same tactics that you use to hurt somebody can also be implemented on you. So guys, that's it for this video. I would love to know what you guys think about this. If you've experienced relational aggression, if you've just realized that this is what you're experiencing, but you didn't put words to it. Let's talk about it more. We've been talking about this in my private group, the Pink Pill Underground. And I also did a course called the Pink Pill for Business, where I had experts talk about relational aggression in the workplace, which is really, really dangerous and is essentially the same thing that happened with Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively, just on a very public scale. So if you're interested in learning more about relational aggression or what I did in the past covering this, make sure that you click the link below and get more information. And as always, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next video. And remember, be kind to each other, because it just might be you that's next.